So Ben Carson is the Secretary of HUD, and he thinks that poor people have it a little bit too easy. Now, according to the Washington Post, HUD Secretary Ben Carson has now proposed a far-reaching change to federal housing subsidies on Wednesday, tripling rent for the poorest households and making it easier for household authorities to impose work requirements. So you understand? Ben Carson just tripled your rent if you're somebody who's poor enough to be on housing assistance. Now, the initiative unveiled by Carson would raise the rent for tenants in subsidized housing to 35% of your gross income, or 35% of their earnings working 15 hours a week at the federal minimum wage. That is up from the current standard of about 30% of adjusted income. Now, how many people would this affect? Apparently about 4.7 million families that receive housing benefits. Now, the cap on rent for the poorest families would rise to about $150 a month. That's times higher than the current $50 ceiling. Now, about 712,000 households would see their monthly rents rise to $150. Because look, if you are poorest of the poor, right? If you're somebody that has to pay $50 for your rent because you have such little money, your rent is going to be tripled. I don't think that there are people out there that could afford that. If you are that poor, you're not living high on the hog. You're not doing well enough to see your rent triple. So that's disastrous. Now there's more. HUD apparently also wants to scrap rules allowing deductions for medical and childcare costs when determining rents, which Carson said gave some tenants an unfair advantage. Now wait a minute here. So look, we know in America childcare is prohibitively expensive, incredibly expensive. So how does not being allowed to deduct that so that you can pay a rent that you can afford while being able to afford childcare? Because remember, people go and put their kid in childcare so they can actually work, so they can do their jobs. How's that an unfair advantage? Or how about this? Say if you have a medical condition that limits your ability to work, but doesn't exactly qualify you as being disabled. What about that? No, I guess those people are shit out of luck, man. Fuck you, I got mine. I guess that's the phrase of the day, or of the entire administration. But look, Ben Carson, as I said before, he thinks these programs are just way, way too generous. Now, he says of people deducting childcare expenses, for example, they know how to include certain deductions that other people may not be aware of. We really want to level the playing field and make it much more even for everyone. So, tripling people's rent and making it so that you can't get deductions, that you eliminate the deduction altogether, well, that's leveling the playing field. Basically, yeah, we're going to take it away from everybody. Don't you enjoy your new level playing field? We just happen to have leveled it a little bit lower. Ridiculous, right? No, if you really wanted to level the playing field, make more people aware of the deductions that they're able to get. That would help out. But wait, no, never mind. I forgot who I was talking about. It's Ben Carson. And Ben Carson is, of course, one of the people appointed by Trump to destroy the agency, to dismantle all the social safety nets that are in this case, HUD. Now, Carson's proposed bill, along that same line, would also allow public housing authorities to impose work requirements. Now, seniors over the age of 65 and individuals with disabilities would be exempt for the rent increase for the first 6 years. So, after 6 years, disabled people and elderly people who are on fixed incomes will see their rent rise by 3 times. Now, HUD officials said that the group makes up more than half of the 4.7 million families receiving subsidies right now. Now, thankfully, at least people with disabilities and people who are over 65 are at least exempt from those work requirements for now. I wouldn't be surprised with, like, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to raise the Social Security retirement age to 70, and then we're going to make all those old people go back to work. I wouldn't be surprised. Look, these are another set of changes that Republicans have been very clear on wanting to do. Oh, no, we want to reform welfare. What do you think reforming welfare is? Making it more generous? No, that's never what they mean. They always mean we're going to make cuts, we're going to put in work requirements, and we're going to basically decrease the amount of subsidies that we give to poor people. And look, they're doing this because they want to, quote unquote, reform welfare. Again, following in the Bill Clinton model, of course. And look, they're not even close to done with this. Just last week, House Republicans also advanced a plan to strengthen work requirements for people on the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, also known as SNAP, as part of the 2018 Farm Bill. Now, the proposal approved by the House Agriculture Committee would expand work requirements, mandating that most adult recipients under 60 work part-time or enroll in a state-run training program. It would apply to as many as 7 million adults. Now, Democrats and anti-hunger advocates do say the proposed work requirements could force as many as 1 million people off the program over the next 10 years, citing estimates from the Congressional Budget Office. Now, they have also expressed doubts about the proposed expansion of state job training programs for recipients. Now, look, when it comes to job training, okay, that's fine, but don't put in work requirements unless you have a federal job guarantee. Unless there's a job out for everybody who wants one, guaranteed by the government, then you shouldn't put in work requirements for government services. Because, look, our system is structured so that there will always be unemployed people. There will always be people who cannot find jobs. That's the way our system is structured. So if you add in work requirements in that kind of system, when you know that not everybody can get a job, well, that's just needlessly cruel. But, again, that pretty much explains Republicans, right? And look, the truth is that it's not welfare that we spend most of our money on, like Republicans want you to believe. It's actually things like tax cuts for the rich, subsidies to wealthy corporations, and military spending. Again, this spending does not necessarily go to the troops or equipment for the troops, but actually goes to defense contractors and right into the CEO's pockets. Look, these programs are actually a very small sliver of the budget, these welfare programs. They're minuscule. So, of course, it's the hypocrisy, right? Oh, no, we just blew a $1.9 trillion hole in the budget. And now, what are we going to do? We're going to have to cut welfare. We're going to have to cut food stamps. We're going to cut housing assistance. We're going to have to go after Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. That's next, by the way. And look, the thing about that tax cut is most of it, a majority of it, went right into the pockets of the rich, into the corporations. And here's what they're planning to do. The Republicans are planning to do another round of tax cuts. And then guess what happens after that? More debt, or what they'll claim is more debt, and more reason for them to say, we got to cut your Social Security. There's nothing we can do. Look at our deficits. They're so enormous. We got to do something about it. And guess what? They're going to take it. Just like they're taking all these other programs that help the poor, that help the elderly, that help the vulnerable. In case you're not aware yet, Republicans don't give a shit about you. They don't give a shit about you. They don't give a shit about you. They don't care. They don't care. All they want is the money for themselves and their rich donors. And that's exactly who Ben Carson and the rest of the people in the Trump administration are continuing to serve. That's their true masters. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.